Because now we're official. Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so proud of each and every one of you for being here because that means you are in momentum and you are changing lives. And 6 years in, it still gives me full body chills to know, like, scroll through. If you're on your phone right now, scroll through and see how many names are on here. And that means that at least every single person touched 3 lives, right? And some of you even more than that. So right now, I want you in the comments to just shout yourself out. What is something right now in your business that you are really proud of? I am proud of every single one of you because not only did you change those lives, but how many of us have so many other things right now that we could be doing, right? It's a Sunday night. There's things going on. Life is crazy busy, but you are here and you are showing up. You're showing up for your goals. You're showing up for your dreams. And that is what it takes. I want each and every single one of you to know that that's what's going to set you apart as a leader over and over and over again in this business. And tonight, we are so excited to be able to dive in with you to answer some of the questions that you submitted and to be able to help you grow. One of the things that I love the most in this opportunity is these women that are on this call have become some of my absolute dearest friends, people that I look up to more than anything in this opportunity, and we're not on the same teams. That is what sets Plexus apart. And I hope every single one of you feel that tonight. I hope you leave from this call determined to be a jewel, determined to make your goals and dreams come true, because Plexus is not like any other social selling company in this industry. You are in the right place at the right time with the right people. And don't you dare ever think that you don't have what it takes to make this exactly what you want it to be. Whether that's a Ruby ambassador, whether that's a Jewel ambassador, whatever it is, you're here and you're going to make this happen by doing the consistent work that you've done to make it on this call. And that's huge. All right, so first question, we're gonna dive right in because I think that pretty much any one of us on this call could probably talk for 45 minutes about why we love Plexus alone, and y'all would still be here tomorrow morning, but that is not our goal. So first up, the amazing Jennifer Leith. If you guys do not follow her on social media, I legit, like right now, or write it down right after this call, I want you to go and follow her. I don't shake your head at me. Because y'all, she was the first person. If y'all don't know my story, I showed up at Super Saturday. I had no idea why I was there other than God wanted me to be there. Jen Leith was the trainer. And in that moment, I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to do this because that woman just inspired the heck out of me. If you want to laugh daily along with her stories while she exercises in skirts, if you want to be inspired more than anything, you need to go and follow this woman. Jen, first question. It says, I'd like to know better ways to get people interested in the business side. I have a few on my team who I think would be good at it, but aren't interested, and maybe it's my wording or how I explain it. Basically, how do you get people sharing?
Okay, so this is like the question everyone always wants the answer to, because you would think if you put in front of somebody's face this idea of, hey, all you have to do is refer 3 friends, you're going to make $400. You would think that everyone would go, oh yeah, I'm doing that. But they don't. So there has to be a reason why they don't. And I think I know what the reason is. If you're on this call, you're probably part of this very small percentage of people that hear of something and they're like, I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. Like, we're just those type of people. There's a Waffle House near our neighborhood, and there's this huge banner in front of it right now that says $500 sign-on bonus for a cook. And I literally thought to myself when I drove by, I don't know how to do that, but I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. That's my mentality. And I bet you the vast majority of you on this call have that same mentality. That's why you're on this call. But the majority of people do not have that mentality. They have fear. They think, I don't know how to do that, or I'm not qualified. And so when we present to them this whole idea of enroll 3, get $400, it's as if we told them to become a brain surgeon. That is as far reaching as that sounds to them. So what I think of is, and it's not meant to be degrading, it's just the idea of your child using training wheels. And you know how a parent will hold the back of the bike and they don't realize that they finally let go and the kid's just pedaling along and they have no idea that mom's no longer holding on to the bike. So when you want people to start sharing, you're giving them each little step. So, hey, I just did this with a girl just today. I said, hey, I'm going to write up a post for you and I want you to put it on social media. I didn't ask. I didn't get permission. And I even said, hey, use that picture you took of your welcome pack, because I always get people to send me a picture of their welcome pack when it comes. And I say, send it to me so I make sure everything's there for you. But really, I'm trying to get them to take a picture so they can use to post on social media. Then I write up this post and I give it to them and they put it on social media. And the other thing that's crazy is they're always worried. I'm sorry, I have another question. I'm sorry, I don't want to bother you. And I'm like, this is what I do. Every time you message me, I'm like, yes, I'm so excited. So I want them to know that they can keep coming back to me with anything. I say to them, if a friend has a question, come ask me what to say first. I am making sure they know that this is a no fail scenario. It is not on their back. I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to help you do it. So there are all these ways that you're getting someone to feel confident, making that post, getting that Engage app, making sure that I always get them to download it, believing that they're going to send themselves those free samples. I'm like, you've got 3 free samples waiting on you, sister. But once they get it uploaded onto their phone, I'm like, you know what? You might have some friends that actually might want those samples. Do you want to do that instead? And then they're like, well, I guess I should. It is these little slow steps that get people sharing to gain that confidence, because you and I were told about this enroll 3 scenario and we were like, game on, like money. Mom, sister, best friend, done. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I didn't need a graphic. I didn't need an explanation. I didn't need you to tell me how I was getting paid. It was just coming. But we are what we call high achievers. So treat everyone opposite the way that you've been treated, because most people are not like us. All right, that's my answer for the day. And now I am taking over the MC questions. And this is going to be exciting because every question is so purposeful. I can see that these are things that have probably been holding some people back and really wanting answers to these questions. So the first person I'm going to ask a question of is Jordan. All right, Jordan, how do you navigate the times when you feel discouraged? What has been your mindset throughout your journey? Share that with us.
Okay, so if you're on my team, I love questions. So if this is you, if you're feeling discouraged, I have some questions for you. One is, what book are you reading? One is, when is the last time you recruited a new ambassador? My next question is, when is the last time you helped somebody go silver? How is your home life? When's the last time you went on a date with your husband or took your kid out? When's the last time you went and got a pedicure? All of those things have played a part in me being discouraged before, because when I am discouraged, I'm usually just like focusing on me and what's going wrong. And it's so heavy. And sometimes you just got to go on a date with your husband. Maybe things are hard because your home life is like really in shambles. My husband had a coach one time and I will never forget this. He said, there always has to be tension. So if you don't have tension between your business and your home life, if you're giving your business all and your family none, and giving your family all and your business none, there's no tension. But there's constantly a pull, right? Like, I've got to go do this today. I've got to do this today. If there's a constant tension, then you're going to feel much more balanced. And that's been really helpful for me. Also, those checklists of things. But also there's been a main time when I was discouraged, and it was after I went senior Ruby and all my people quit. Anybody ever have that? Like literally all my runners. I had 2 golds and a senior gold who had to take a step back. And y'all, we always have a choice. My choice was get in Debbie Downer City. Woe is me, I'm a terrible leader. Or choose the high road and get in growth mode and go figure it out. And you guys, just like they just said, or Jen just said, we're figure out people. We figure things out, and you can figure that out. And the last thing I'll say is, if you're feeling discouraged, I just want to ask you, are you doing your IPA? Are you actually doing your IPA, or are you spending a lot of time scrolling on social media? Because that is discouraging when you feel like you're working a lot and nothing's happening. So go make some stuff happen, and I promise you'll get out of that hole. So anyway, that is my answer, and hopefully that's helpful.
I love that you went through the list of questions, because I was even answering that for myself. So I hope you guys use that technique, ask each other questions. Megan Goff, I want to ask you that same question. How do you navigate discouragement, and tell me about your mindset throughout your journey?
Hey girls, can you guys hear me okay? All right, just let me know, because I'm camping in South Dakota. We're glamping. So navigating the discouragement. So one thing that I was thinking about is forewarned is forearmed. And so when you're on the mountain to diamond, just know that along the path, like, it's not going to be a straight shot up to the top, right? We're going to encounter great moments, great months, all of the things, but there might be some times where there's hardness in our season. It's arduous. The journey is harder. And so I would just encourage you to have the perspective that there's going to be moments of discouragement, but the question is, what are we going to do with the discouragement? Are you going to sit and wallow, or are you going to get up and pick up your rucksack and keep moving, right? I think action cures discouragement. The worst thing that you can do when you're discouraged is do nothing, right? And I know that Justin and I were talking about just the mindset. Well, for us personally, our mindset has been, we're going to win. So this come hell or high water, we're going to win. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. But when you have that mindset in your mind, you're not going to sit by the roadside and just sit there, right? You're going to keep moving forward. So yes, we've had discouraging seasons, or, things personally or in our business, but that's life, right? And so I think just realizing that this journey takes resilience and it takes grit. And also return to why. When you forget why you're doing it, then you're going to sit and wallow more so than if you have your why right in front of you and your face is set like a flint and you're moving onward, right? Something also, I remember an Emerald on our team, Lisa Winters, at our retreat 2 years ago, she said, remember back to when you started. And she said, this is something that came to her, because she restarted her business. And she said, do what you once did and it will grow. So think back to when you first started your business. What was your mindset? What was your excitement level? What was your passion meter on for Plexus, right? Sometimes I think we can kind of get in a rut or a groove and forget, and we need to get our sparkle back. So those are just a couple of thoughts that I had about mindset and discouragement.
You've got some like one-liner zingers up in there. Anybody else write those down? I was like, forewarned is forearmed. That is the best. And you know what? I bet you everyone that's answering questions tonight could give you some feedback about discouragement. Does anybody want to speak to that before we move to the next question?
I can say something really quick.
Hit me.
A lot of you on my team probably know this, but when I was a gold ambassador, I almost quit. And that was a really discouraging time for me. And the reason for that, and I think Emily's going to address this a little bit later, was because I was so tied up in comparing my journey to other people's that legit, you guys, I was so afraid to fail because I had this like big dream in my heart, truly. And I was so scared to fail that I thought it would just be easier to quit. And so I threatened it. I called my upline. I talked to my husband about it. I mean, it was like on my mind for a good couple of months. And finally I was like, dang it, I'm going to quit comparing myself to other people, because all that's doing, and y'all all heard this, is stealing my joy. It's making me discontent. And for me, comparison paralyzes me. Like, it's like, I want to hide. I don't want to do any activity. I just want to like avoid. And so I realized that was the biggest poison to my business. And if I couldn't get that straight, I was not going to see that dream in my heart come true. And so I just want to encourage you that even here as a diamond, I've been a diamond for 6.5 years. I almost quit when I was a gold ambassador. But what kept me going is I decided that that dream was bigger than any excuse or any fear that I had. And so I just shoved it aside. And was it easy after that? No, there was still ebb and flow like anything else in this business, but it was a defining time for me as an ambassador. So Tara always says, you don't truly fail unless you quit. So I'm going to encourage you in that.
Super good. And the chat, people are saying they just feel that everything you're saying, they just feel that deeply. And I bet we all do, but we keep going. So Brianne, I'm going to ask you this question, and I can't even imagine, even if you sent a cold message, that it still wouldn't feel warm, because I know you, but how did you grow your business without sending tons of cold messages?
I just love you. Okay, so I sent out one kind of cold message when I first got going with this. How many of us, when we first joined and we decided to start sharing, it was like, oh, I know this person and I know this person and I know this person. Oh, and this is what I did. I remember this person that I went to college with and how she used to struggle with all of this stomach stuff. I'm going to message her. And I messaged her, and we still joke about it now. She orders, she came back around, but it was like scroll after scroll after scroll after scroll. And then after I sent it, she didn't say anything back for months. And I remember how gross that felt to me, not because I thought that she was like upset with me or mad at me, but it was just like, golly, the reason that I didn't want to do this is because how many of us have gotten spammed with the messages, right? Y'all, 2 months ago, my team still laughs about this because I screenshotted it to them. I had somebody message me 2 months ago and say, hey girl, I think you would be amazing at what I do. Have you ever thought about? And I messaged her back and I was like, can I be honest with you? She said, yeah. I said, actually, I am really good at what you do. And it turns out if you went to my profile, you would have seen that. Can I help you with this? Y'all, nobody wants to have those messages sent to them, right? I live in a super small town. I had no social media presence before I started this. What I think about cold messaging is if we were standing on a sidewalk and somebody in a brick and mortar business went out to us and we're like, hey, come in my store. Hey, come in my store. Hey, come in my store. What would we want to do? We'd probably want to run the other way, right? But if they had all these like bright, cheery things and they had on like samples outside of their store window and really great graphics, and maybe they just sometimes let me walk by their store and we're like, hey, I hope you have an amazing day today. Eventually, what am I going to want to do? I'm going to want to go in their store, right? So those people that you have on that list that we talk about, it's not to hound them, right? It's not to send them a cold message. It's to love on them. Y'all, we get paid to love on people. And there is nothing that is better than that in my book. So when you have those lists of people, take the time, check in with them. Some of the best messages that I get back from people are when I send like a morning, I have my team, we do morning rounds and we send out 5 messages every morning, nothing about plexus. It's like a funny gift to wake up to or something fun. And at the end of it, some of my favorite conversations are, aren't you going to ask me about plexus? And I can write back, no, actually, I wasn't. But if you want to talk about it, I'm always here. And it leads into the best conversations. People that watch you know what you do. And if you're telling your story, they're going to want to know about it, right? Be consistent and be passionate. Because here's the thing. How many of you have signed up every single person on your social media accounts? None of us, right? Guess what? Every single person on your social media account has a microbiome. Guess what? Every single person on your social media account needs what we have. And so if you're confident, like I don't need them, right? I don't have to go to them. What I have to do is be really confident in what I have. And they're going to be attracted to that. And there's nothing better than that.
Okay, so Kristen Boss, I was listening to one of her podcasts today, and she really shares about the energy when you're posting. And it could be two people posting the same words, but the energy behind it, it's like one slap it up there and the other one's like, I'm feeling this. And it really does make a difference. And so I can feel that when you share. I can feel it through the screen. And you kind of shared about, you wrote this long message, you felt like she didn't respond. So Tamara, what do you do when somebody doesn't respond to you or they ghost you after saying they wanted the products? What do you do?
Give up. Just kidding. Okay, first, I just want to give a shout out to all y'all. Like, I just scrolled through the names, and this is so fun knowing that you showed up to this because you freaking earned it. Like, so proud of you guys. And we will do this again. I guarantee it. So fun. Okay, so first, I want to say, everybody on this call, every diamond on this call has been ghosted or has had someone express interest in the business or the products. And then you literally like, you get so excited and you send them all the information, you talk to them, and then it's like, they go silent. They go silent. So let me tell you what I used to do. I used to just kind of, this is years ago. So I don't want to preface this too. Anything, you guys, that I do well now is because I learned from past mistakes and I decided to keep on going and to grow my skill set. This is a business where you have to continue to grow your skill set, just like anything else that you want to be good in. And so you may not do something well right now, but that doesn't mean in 2 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, you will not continue to improve as you practice these skills. Okay. Follow up is a skill. Okay. So I used to just like say things like, hey, checking in with you. Want to make sure you didn't have any questions, didn't hear back. Silence, silence. I wasn't giving them any reason to respond to me. And so a light bulb went off one time and I was like, okay, I got to shift here because I am not getting the responses that I expect after someone shows interest. And what really dawned on me is if someone expresses excitement or even just questions about the product or the business, they had some initial spark, right? Something sparked an interest. And so if they go silent on me, there's got to be a root issue of that. And just checking in with them is not going to help me find that out. And I cannot address whatever objection they're dealing with until I ask some questions. So Jordan, you know me, I like to ask questions too. So things I have done in recent past is say things like, hey, Jen, I know that you expressed, you were kind of interested in the triplex combo and we chatted a little bit about that. And I followed back up with you a couple of times. I haven't heard back from you. Listen, if you've changed your mind for whatever reason, that's a-okay with me. You are what's important to me. So just know I'm here for you. And I did find this video that I wanted you to watch that really breaks it down again. You know what? I'm going to check back in with you in a few days and just see where your head's at. Every time that I address it head on, you guys, and I address that they're not responding to me by saying things like, hey, you haven't responded the past couple times, giving them that release of pressure, I'm telling you, I'm gonna venture to say I've had a 99% success rate that people come back and say, no, I'm so sorry I didn't respond. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was on vacation, I was sick, whatever it is. I'm still interested. Or I'm so sorry I haven't responded back. It does sound really intriguing, but I looked at the cost and then I got a little hesitant. Or I read an article, or my husband is skeptical. I get to the root issue. If you don't get to the root issue, there's some objection they have, you can address it and help them overcome that. Is that helpful? Get to the root issue, ask some questions, gently say, hey, I know you haven't responded back the last couple times. I'm here for you. But if you've changed your mind, listen, that's okay. And they will more than likely come back to you and respond with something.
Every single time you answer, I had her on one of my power hours and she's talking and I'm like, oh, dang, this is really good. And I'm trying to get it all written down. You're like the queen of scripts and I don't even like scripts. Okay. So anybody on here that's ever ghosted someone or they ghosted their upline for a time being before they said yes, raise your hand. I mean, I like actually deleted Suzanne, like actually deleted and blocked her. Okay. So this is all part of the journey.
Right.
Thank you, Tamara. Okay. Joanna Joanna Miller is going to share with us some recommendations for personal growth and where she got her hat.
Okay, so the hat is from Target. I got it 2 years ago though, so I don't know if they still carry this brand. Hey guys, okay, so personal growth books, I have my top 3 favorites. So when I started Plexus, first of all, I didn't have like any of the skills like at all, 0 skills to do this. And I really needed the money. Like I used a credit card to order my first products. We would have a negative bank account a couple times a month. So I started the business because I needed to get my products paid for. And yes, I loved people, but and sometimes I'll hear people say, oh, these products are so great. I would still share if I didn't make a penny. And I think like, there's no way I'd still share because like it's really hard and I really needed the money. So, and I wouldn't even be here with the testimonial if I wasn't making the money because I wouldn't have been able to keep buying the products. And so I say all that to say that the first book that was like a game changer for me in my business was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was so good. I think I read that when I was gold. I think I was gold. So good because it really just taught me like skills on how to really love people, put people first, and how to like craft your conversations and talk to people to show that like you care more about them than yourself. So good. So that's my top favorite. Then my second favorite is Pep Talk. Okay, so I used to think like the whole mindset affirmations was hocus pocus. I was like, why would I say something to myself that's not true? Basically like lying to myself, hoping that it comes true sometime. I just didn't get it. But Pep Talk, it points all of it back to scripture and how God's word backs it all up. Like our mindset and affirmations, you guys, is so important. So I love that one. So good. And then lastly is, well, I have so many favorites, but these are my top 3, is Chasing the Lion, you got by Mark Batterson. So good. I did this with my team, a book study, and it was one of our best book studies that we've had. It's just all about going after your dreams, God-sized dreams, and it is so inspiring. So those are my top 3.
I love it. And the Pep Talk one I haven't actually heard of. So that, yeah. Do you know the author?
Yeah, Terry Savelle Foy.
Okay, that's one to put on our list. That sounds awesome. All right, so we're going to go to Emily. And Emily, I'm going to talk to you about creating community. So how do you create community, create culture, and even momentum from that within your team?
Yeah. First off, I am so sorry that I look like a gray ghost. If anybody knows how to fix cameras, tell me. Like my face is like smushed. Like, I'm so sorry if you guys are seeing this. It's
You look
terrible.
beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, I look like a fish face. Okay, so I love this topic because without culture, your team is going to fail. Culture is so vitally important. That culture is what's going to create that momentum. The culture is what's going to create people staying, that retention. We all have heard Genevieve say all the time, like, relationship is what's going to bring about retention. And that's where your culture comes from. And you as a leader are the creator of your culture, of your organization. So Mark Cole, he is a gentleman that works with John Maxwell. And he said leaders actually sabotage their ability to succeed because they aren't focusing on their people. And Jordan had mentioned that when she was senior Ruby, she was in a funk and a lot of her people were leaving, and she realized she was really focusing on herself and on her goals. And so this goes hand in hand exactly with what he's saying. You have to focus on your people. And then Simon Sinek, am I saying his name right? Simon S. He talks about the 4 different characteristics of a healthy culture. And so I'm going to give these 4 to you guys because I think they're brilliant. And I hope that you take notes of these. He says, culture or characteristic number 1 of a healthy culture is creating a culture of safety. Where it's safe to ask questions. It's safe to fail and continue to learn from that failure. It's safe because you know that your leader loves you and supports you and has your back. He says, when people feel safe, they have less stress and anxiety when under pressure, which leads to higher levels of performance. And I think every single one of us who has a close relationship with a sideline or an upline can totally agree to that. We have to have that safety of a relationship to move forward. He also talks about number 2 being a culture of purpose. It's the leader's job to paint a clear picture of what the future is. It says, when there's no, where there's no vision, the people will perish. That's straight from scripture. And so as a leader, it is our job to paint the picture of what that vision is going to be, where you are going as an organization. The third characteristic of a healthy culture is a culture of authenticity. It's our most important tool to build a healthy culture is through empathy. So having that empathetic spirit, loving your people, again, that feeds into the safety too, but having an authentic team is so important. It says that it allows people to grow through their challenges instead of shrinking away from them, that authenticity. And the fourth characteristic is a culture of connection. As leaders, we must fight to create a culture where our people feel seen and known. Again, going back into that relationship where we as leaders are making our people know that they are valued and that they are loved, no matter what they are bringing to the table, no matter their results, but knowing that they are seen and they're loved. So some of the ways that I have done this, some of the ways that I've seen my team create this type of really special, important culture, I just have a whole list of them here. I have a runner's thread for anyone in my organization. It's not just a select few, it's for anybody in my organization, all the way down to, level 10 or wherever we are. If they are silver or above, they can be added into that thread. And in that thread, we're really active in it. We'll send message examples, post examples, funny GIFs, funny little, I don't know. I remember Joanna sent over a video that Jen Leaf had done of a hilarious, large woman jumping off of a cliff in her bathing suit, has nothing to do with Plexus, but just creating that fun, family, that fun. Recognition, prayer, listing out podcasts and trainings that I've listened to that have been really helpful for me, responding to questions, but again, just being present and being engaged in that thread, because I know it's really special if you are a silver ambassador and you have a ruby who's pouring into you, or you have an emerald that's answering your questions and right there for you. That's so very important to feel that support. I have a personal level 1 thread for my business builders. A lot of the time in that, I will just do fun, special things for my level 1s, like add a friend this week or this weekend and get whatever, a prize. So being generous too, that's been something that I have enjoyed doing, even at a silver level, being generous, sending a gift card, like a coffee card with a little note that says, hey, I see you working hard. I'm so thankful to have you on my team. Go treat yourself to a coffee. Just being generous with your money, generous with your words, generous with your time is so very important. Building relationships. I know that Jordan's really good at calling people. So that again makes people feel seen and loved and valued. So jumping on Marco Polo really fast. Don't spend 5, 10, 20 minutes Marco Poloing about nothing that's building your business or building that relationship. Be intentional with what you're talking about, but always be there, be pointing these people towards their IPAs, right? But building that relationship, loving on them. Let's see, coaching calls, handwritten notes, rank up gifts. Some other ways that we've created some culture is just weekly power hours or accountability groups where we get together once a week for 3 months at a time. I think that really creates community, family, friendship, where you're seeing each other and working together. Team calls, recognition on actions and results in your team page, in your thread, on your own personal stories. There's just a whole gamut of things that we can do to create culture. But just being intentional with relationships, seeing people, valuing people. And then the last thing I would say is have fun too. Because again, you are the creator of your culture. Have fun. Enjoy what you're doing. Show your people that you can have fun doing this. Show your people that you may get people that say no, or you might have people that ignore you, or you might have people turn off their subscription, but that's not going to derail you. You know, like you're still in this, you're still having fun. Sorry, that was kind of splotchy, but I blame it on the fish face. So we can go to the next one.
You're just, I don't even know, Emily. It's like, if I could be a gray ghost and look like you, I would do it like right now. I'd
You look totally normal. Totally normal.
I'm like, okay. Apparently she looks terrible. Wow. I think she looks
You
great.
have to see it. You have to see it. Maybe it's not there on your side. It's terrible here.
You know what, though? I was thinking about Tamara had shared a talk once about culture, and I think she brought up Chick-fil-A. So I feel like, Tamara, you should just chime in a little bit about team culture, because you have great value there too.
Okay, that wasn't planned. You know, it's funny, when Emily first started talking, I thought about a quote that really stood out to me. I was coming home from, it's in Millionaire by Halftime, which this is an older book, but I also highly recommend this book. It's got a lot of really great tips for network marketers. But a quote that really stuck out to me when I was coming back from a leaders retreat, this was years ago, was a difference in a team of 100 and 1,000 is culture. And that like hit me in the chest. And I thought, oh, do I have culture on my team? And then I kept reading, and it talked about you'll have culture regardless, whether you create it or you don't. There's going to be some sort of culture. And so if you want a strong culture on your team, a healthy culture like Emily listed out, which I love those, I hadn't heard some of those before, you have to be intentional about how to create it. I sat down on the plane, American Airlines, in my coach seat, and I wrote out a list of all the things that I wanted to be a part of my team culture. Connection, reaching out to people, strong skill set in social media, in reaching out to people, in follow-up, personal development. And so then I began to create incentives or challenges or things of that nature to create the culture that I wanted my team to have. And I'm still working on that to this day. We had done power hours sporadically, you know, 1 month we might have a few, then not do them for 6 months, then pop in and do a few. And now just in the past couple months, I decided, I was like, I want this to be a culture for our team. And so now you can expect them every week. I've got them scheduled throughout the rest of the year. And a lot of my diamonds are helping me with that. And so anything that you want your team to do, you be intentional about creating it. Make a list of what's most valuable to you, and that will help your team define their values as well.
So good. I don't think that there will ever be enough conversations about culture. And that's something that you'll always be developing along the way, especially as you grow as a person. So we've got a little less than 10 minutes-ish, maybe less than that. So I'm just going to grab the last two questions that I see that I think are really important. And I'm sorry if we missed some of you guys, but these two are really good. So Megan, I'm going to talk to you about this. How do you grow a team without going into management mode? And why would that be bad? Why would management mode be a bad thing?
Yeah. Justin and I were just talking about this, and I'll have to give him credit, because if you got one-liners from what I said earlier, it's because of him. So credit to my husband there. But yeah, management, I think the important thing is to define it. What is management mode? And the way I would define it would be basically you're not working your own business, AKA personally sponsoring new level ones and not developing your level ones into silvers. Okay, so a couple things specifically that I would say define whether you're in management mode or not would be you're hosting events for your team, and you're creating all the content and, you know, doing things, but you're not personally inviting people to it. Another thing would be spending all your time like creating team page content, or maybe training, but not actually doing. I would say management mode is in some ways the easy stuff. Like you're not having to do anything scary or gets outside of your comfort zone. And so I would say if you want to make sure that you're not in management mode, make sure that you're doing things that are uncomfortable. You're putting yourself out there on social media, because for me personally, that doesn't come naturally to me. I would rather hidey hole and do my thing, right? And so that's uncomfortable to me. Sometimes even getting in conversations, like creating new conversations, that can be uncomfortable. Approaching people about the products or the business, like that puts you in the hot seat, but that's the hot seat for growth, guys. And so we've been out in South Dakota touring around, and I've used this analogy before, but it's become really real this week. Yesterday, we went to a gold mine, and we were watching people pan for gold. The kids were trying it and things like that. But with what we do in a lot of ways, like we're panning for gold, right? We're looking for people that need the products or need the business. And I would say that doesn't just apply, it's a filtering process, right? You're shaking, going through lots of conversations, talking to a lot of people to figure out who are your yeses. Okay. The other thing too is like there's gold on your team that's yet to be found. So don't discount the fact that you probably have people that will go do things if you go back and ask questions. I have multiple jewels on my team now that did not start the business for like a year and a half to 2 years in. They came in as product users, but swung back around and said, hey, you ready to share yet? What's your thoughts on that? You know, and just, I don't know that there's a right or wrong way to go ask the question, whether you start with, you know, helping them make a post first, or you just boldly say, hey, you'd be great at this business. What are your thoughts? Like, are you ready? So anyways, those are a couple of thoughts that I had, is that just to be in personal growth, because you will be more relevant to your team when you are in conversations, when you are signing up level ones, when people see you earning the little prizes and sweeping the success sprint prizes and things like that. And I will also say Jessica Heffley just challenged us to do that hashtag what I did today and share that with your team, because your team probably doesn't see everything that you do, and it will inspire them to go take action if they find out that you reached out to 10 people about the business today, or that you helped 3 people host an event yesterday or whatever. So don't forget to share with your team that are starting to share what you did today, because they need to see you do that.
So good. I'm going to use that. Is that on her? Oh, I'll ask you later. That just got me really excited, and I'm going to use that idea. All right. Last question, and then I'm going to pass it to Brianne to close us out. And this is for Joanna. And I'm asking this because I think it would be crazy to think that anyone on this call is not going to run into hard times, whether they're going through struggles with friends or family or health or financial. We're all going to hit hard times. So how do you still prioritize your business when you have those hard times? Joanna.
Okay, so how do I prioritize? And in hard seasons of life, and I've been through a lot, you guys, I know everyone has, I have a few main things that I make sure to do. And that is not quitting working my business each week. I might take, like when my dad passed away, I definitely took a few days off. But that was it, like a few days. And I'm not saying I worked like 4 hours every day on the days that I worked. After taking a few days off, how it looked like was just showing up, making a post on social media, posting in my team page, showing up for my team in the chats, just showing them that I was there, and that I wasn't quitting, just that I was going to be consistent despite the hard times, because I wanted them to see that it's possible, like you can keep going and growing in the hard times. And so just not quitting, just showing up in some way, shape, or form, so my team was seeing that. And then my own personal business, doing something. Now, a lot of times our team will do like 50-person reach out challenges or different things like that. And so for my own personal business, I wasn't doing crazy IPA during like really hard times, like death in the family or other hard times we've come across. But I was still posting, sharing about Plexus on my social media, and I was still following up. I was still doing trainings. So still working my business, even if it wasn't as much as I wanted to at that time or as much as I had planned to, and just knowing that like any small action that you do, they all add up into big, huge wins over time. So don't discredit that one thing you did that day during a really hard season. And then also to like defining hard seasons, because like Jen was saying, like life is hard for everybody. We all have hard things we go through in life, and it's important to give ourselves grace, but also don't get stuck in like the grace mode. Like remembering why you're doing this. Like, why are you doing this? And remembering the goals and the dreams that you have for your family, and knowing that by quitting, you're not going to, or taking a break, you're not going to be moving towards those goals. And a vehicle in motion stays in motion. I always think of that. And then also, it's so much harder to get going again when you quit. So even if I can't be doing all the things because I'm just so emotionally just drained from the things that have happened, or I'm still doing something little because it's so much harder to get going again. And that has helped me a ton in my own personal business. I actually even just lost my Facebook for like the past 6 weeks, you guys. So sad. It looks like I'm on there, but I'm actually not. And that's been a really hard thing because I built my Facebook from scratch all the way for the past 6.5 years. And that's mostly how I build my business. But now I'm just getting the hang of Instagram. But just remembering your why, guys. And that's has helped me so much. Doing something little every single day. But also knowing too that the reason why you're doing this in the first place is probably because you already have seen hard things happen. Maybe you're in debt. Maybe you want your husband home more. Those are hard things already. That's why you're doing that. And so with Plexus, you're choosing your hard and you're choosing to do the hard thing of being consistent in your business despite the hard times to see those dreams come true for your family that you're working towards.
Can I add one thing really fast?
Oh, good. Yes, go.
Well, does anybody else feel like you have a hard time posting? Like, Brian, you were talking about being sparkly, right? Like having your sparkle. And does anybody have a hard time posting when you're in a hard space, like in a stressful space or an overwhelmed space? This is what I do when I'm in that space, like Joanna is talking about. I have to go do something fun, like even if it's a pedicure, or I have to celebrate every single win. Somebody tells me they're pooping today and that was my check-in, I'm going to post about it. So if you're in that space and you're finding a hard time being sparkly on your Facebook, just focus on some good things and talk about those, or go get out of that negative space, even if it's for 30 minutes, and post about that. Take a picture while you're in that non-negative space. So anyway, that's what's helped me. But Joanna really is a boss at this, y'all.
And I think too, before I close this out, I love that you both just talked about this and said this, because guess what? Plexus doesn't make life perfect, right? There are things in life that are super, super hard. And you can also, I think one of the best things that I've learned in this is that you teach people about lessons after you're through them, right? When you can really go back and you can pull out the nuggets and you can bring that to people. But we just lost my grandfather a month ago, and I was there with him through the last final moments, and I still it wrecks me. But in those moments, we were showing up, right? It wasn't because my life was perfect, but I was posting about going through those moments because guess what? Those moments, they make us real. They make us relatable. They make people understand that just like everybody else, we're humans. And so in those moments, y'all, we have each other. How many people went through really hard times before Plexus and it was just ugh. I cry thinking about it. I didn't have so many people that had my back that would step in for me, that I didn't have to call a boss, right? Those are things and those are times where we really get to see the blessings in what we have. And I want you to cling to that. And I want you to know that you're here for a purpose. And if you right now have your head spinning, even 6 years into this, I listen to calls like this and I'm like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this and let me dive into this and then let me go here. Anybody else feeling like that right now? Guess what sometimes can happen when you feel like that? For me, I go grab a garbage bag and I start cleaning out cupboards. Why? Because it's something I can control. Okay. Instead of doing all the things, I do nothing in those moments. If you are one of those people, or even if you're not one of those people, what I want you to do, and I will get this recording to everybody, I want you to drop your top 1 or 2 takeaways in the comments right now. The first things that pop to your mind. Maybe it's team culture. Maybe you're going through a really hard season right now. Maybe you have somebody that's ghosted you and you're like, oh, okay, now I can go and I can follow up with them. What is that for you drop it in the comments. That's what I want you to focus on first. And then I want you to take action with it. This is not just a like, oh, okay, that was a really good tip. I'm going to like file it back here and maybe someday I'll get to it. Right now, I want you to message your upline or your diamond that's on here. And I want you to say, this is what I learned tonight. Hold me accountable. In the next 24 or 48 hours, this is what I'm going to do to take action on that. Because here's the thing, y'all. You can earn every call, and I want you to. You can earn every prize. You can do all the things. You can listen to all the podcasts. You can tune into all the books. But if you're not taking action, you're not going to have a business that's duplicatable. And what I want for every single one of you is in those hard moments, you can look back and you can be like, yeah, that's why. That's why I did the hard things when I thought that it was hard, because you're going to have moments that aren't really that hard, right? Because when you get to the hard, then you can look back and you can think, I am so thankful that I stayed up later, that I sent a message when I didn't know if somebody would respond, when I listened to that call and then I did the action. That's what this is about. You're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason. You showed up to this call because you have a dream, you have a why, you have a passion. And I want you to take that and I want you to run with it. Because there is no one perfect ambassador. God made you for a purpose. You have a story that's bigger than you know. You have a reach that's bigger than you know, and your ripple is so far spread. So take that thing and dive into it, whatever it was for you. And it's going to be different for every single person. But we will get this recording to you. And oh my goodness, I can't wait to see every single one of you in the Jewel pages, because it can absolutely happen. And y'all, there is nothing better than what we have. I am utterly convinced. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everybody tuning in and for all the diamonds that spent their time tonight. Love you, ladies.